Yo, 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 what's going on, legends? Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Welcome if you're a new subscriber. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was a long conversation, good tier list with the legend Raybro. There's a lot of changes in our tier rankings throughout the video, so also keep that in mind. I hope you watch a lot of this video, listen to the players we talk about, why we evaluated in certain aspects for certain teams, where we ranked them. So give us a break, give your thoughts, be respectful, but yeah, comment your thoughts. We want to hear from you. So let's get right into the video. Starting with Anaheim, give me some of your best prospects for Anaheim, Raybro, and then we'll rank them.
Obviously, I feel like it's best if I were to put Seagrass and Drysdale in because they haven't really hit the threshold of them being not eligible.
Yeah, they're still prospects.
Yeah, they're still prospects. So obviously, with them, they bump up the prospect ranking a lot. For Seagrass, he could be an elite center. Drysdale could be a very good top two D man. And of course, they had a third overall pick, Mason McTavish, who looks to be a very good selection as well, which rounds out the three trio for that list. But also you got Sash Basjov from the NTTB, who actually now decommit from Notre Dame and went to Guelph in the OHL. So it's fun to see from there. Good. He's a good point producer. He just needs to work on his skating. And you got Jacob Perreault, played last in the Sarnia Sting, and he's a high-paced guy who just needs to work on his defense, but he has good offense.
And I don't know if you said Zellweger. I know you like Zellweger as well, so throw his name in there as well. So
I'll leave them in A tier though, because they're still very good. But like, if you put them in S tier, I wouldn't argue by any means for sure.
Okay, so let's put them A tier for now, and then we'll see how our S tier kind of forms together with the other teams, and then we can move them up after. So Arizona. So talk about your Arizona Coyotes prospects. Obviously, it's shifted, and now they're going through a rebuild. So talk about the prospects of Arizona.
Arizona is just the Oklahoma City of the NHL. They had so many picks, and obviously they trade away Ekman Larson, Garland for obviously it's like Dylan Gunther, who looks to be doing pretty well in development camp so far, and he looks pretty well. Looks to be a good selection. Obviously, he has top six upside. Could be a good complementary winger for sure to whoever he plays with. It makes the line a lot better. And we can't forget that they also drafted Victor Soderstrom, who's also he started to look way better. Obviously, he's had kind of a rough year, but once he got into playing games in the NHL, he looked actually pretty solid in terms of offense and defensive side. But other than that, there isn't really much of Arizona right now that's very impressive. Those two really, shine the light in terms of their prospect tools. So
C, and then I'm okay with putting Boston at C for now.
I mean, that's pretty fair then. I mean, obviously, the drafted EZELL, who has very good upside. They have John Beecher, who I don't think has an upside to be top six. At most, I see him as like probably like a top 9, bottom 6 guy who's like a power forward. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing as Arizona, where they don't have much prospects. I mean, they have Bekalainen, who looks pretty solid in the AHL, could get some time. And I think Studnicka also graduated.
Yeah, Studnicka's still considered a prospect somewhat.
The thing with Buffalo, they have a lot of good talent, such as they have Jack Quinn, for sure. Yeah, Jack Quinn. They have JJ Peterka, who should have been a first rounder in 2020. That looks like a solid pickup. They also got guys like Isaac Rosen this year. That really rounds up the squad.
And obviously, Owen Power.
Owen Power, of course. He looks to be a good top 4 D-man for sure if they develop him right. And obviously, they're doing that this year by putting him back in the NCAA. They also have Poltapov and
Luukkonen's still a prospect, and Sabres fans are really high on him. So he could be their he could be their future goalie. So I would say
Levi now too.
Yeah, I would say there's you just went through it. I'd say there's 6 or 7 significant enough prospects where we can say these guys are going to be top 6 players or top 4 D-man, or Luukkonen, for example, a starting goalie. So unless you disagree, I think it's safe to put Buffalo at B for now.
Obviously, they have Conazari, looks to be pretty solid middle 6 guy who could play in the second line. He looks comparable, kind of like a Mikael Backlund kind of player. I mean, obviously, they also have Jacob Belchier as well. Drafted some of the guys like Matthew Coronado, who light up the USHL.
I think Dustin Wolf could be a really good goalie. I mean, we've seen his potential, and I think Coronado was a really good pick. So I agree with that. I think Calgary at the same level as Buffalo right now at this point.
I love Carolina so much by like the past 2 years. They just drafted based on best player available and pure value. I mean, obviously, they have Seth Jarvis, who was probably one of the best AHL players at like 18, 19 in the last year in terms of the AHL.
Yeah.
And obviously they have Ryan Suzuki, who looks to be a really good playmaker and could be a good top 6 guy, Jameson Reese. And this year they drafted very well by getting, of course, in terms of value, Scott Morrow, Alexis Hamosalmi too as well, who looks to be very good value too. So I'm actually really excited for what they to bring the offer. And I think they could be around a B, maybe even A, just because of pure value.
Yeah, they got Koivunen also in the second or third round, right?
Too. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I think Carolina has a lot of underrated prospects too. And I'm with you. I think they're definitely at A here. Like, I think a lot of people are like really high on Carolina's prospect pool. So if you're comfortable with that, I'm down to put Carolina at A. All right, let's go Chicago. I would say they are probably max a C. I mean,
yeah,
again, we can adjust it, but I would be on the train of saying like Chicago and Boston for me are max C's. Like, I would even move them down maybe to a D, because like, yeah, Chicago, who do they have? They have, like, as you said, and then they have like Reichel, and then they have Kirby's brother, Colton Dach.
Drew Comessino as well as their goaltender.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm putting them at C. Colorado.
Still consider Alex Newhook, although we played playoff games.
Yeah.
Into the playoff prospect pool as well, and I believe only Byron played 19 games this year, and he had injuries. But I think I'll put him here, also Byron there, like slightly there. But the Avs prospect pool is obviously pretty solid as well, because they have Martin Kaut. They drafted Olausen as well, so they're another team that
Justin Barron, Shane Bowers.
Yeah, for sure.
So, they're good.
They drafted based on value, so I think like they're around like an A or B.
Yeah, sure. I would agree. I think the tough one here is like, I think it's kind of similar to Anaheim's in a way, is like if you take those two top prospects out. So for like Anaheim, if you take Zegras and Drysdale out, for Colorado, if you take Byram and Newhook out, it's a completely different analysis. So I think for now, yes, I would say Colorado at A. But I think like it's tough for me, because like I'm kind of itching to put them at B, because I just feel like Carolina has a lot more depth. I guess we could put them maybe at the top of B. Maybe that's fair. Top of B.
That's fair. Yeah.
Top of B. They're a B plus. All right, Columbus.
They done really well in the 2021 draft. They got Sillinger and Ken Johnson, who were immediately upside. They have high offensive upside to be really good top 6 winners in the NHL, which bumps up their prospect pool as well. I mean, they also have Svozil too. They drafted in the 3rd round, which is a steal. There's no way he should have been in the 3rd round.
Underrated pick,
yeah, very underrated. So I think just by the 2020 picks they had so far, Columbus was around like a B tier after that draft, and obviously they had the picks too for next year as well. So I think for now, like, Columbus is a B tier for sure.
I mean, Chinnikov's looking like he's turning out all right.
Chinnikoff as well. Kirill Marchenko, who's been absolutely dynamite in the KHL right now.
Dallas.
Another team that drafted based on value. And obviously they got Logan Stankoven this year with Martino, Wyatt Johnson as well. So they done really well in terms of drafting. Again, probably like a B, because they're better than the tiers.
Yeah, I was even thinking, we definitely might have to adjust the C if we feel like there's two, because it is tough, because I don't know if Dallas is on the level of like maybe a Colorado or like a.
And they also have Antonio Stranges as well too.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I obviously did the interview. Big shouts to Raybro with Stankoven, and I love Maverick Bork, and I like Thomas Harley's game a lot.
Yeah, Thomas Harley too. Yeah, very. So
Thomas Harley is really, I mean, I think he has a lot of potential. Yeah. For now, we can move Arizona, Boston, and would you even say Chicago down?
Yeah.
Let's go Detroit.
Pretty easy, as they have Moritz Seider, Lucas Raymond. Now they got Simon Edvinson as well, Wollender as well. Like it's just very stacked, for sure, very stacked.
And that's why I'm thinking we maybe have to move Anaheim to S, because we are counting those guys. But for Detroit specifically, I mean, there's no debate that these guys are like they're not about to step in, but they are such like high class prospects. Like, you're talking about like Casa, who could be a future franchise number 1 goalie. And as you said, like Seider's the one guy that will be stepping into the NHL out of the prospects here. But I mean, you go down the list, like Raymond, Berggren, Yeah, like Edmondson, who they just drafted, and then all these like even underrated guys that like should end up being like third liners or bottom six guys in the NHL like in a couple of years. So Stevie Y's built a great team. So I'm down with going Detroit S, and I'm willing to go Anaheim S. Would you go Carolina S if like on specific rankings, or I think A because they don't have enough high class guys, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. I mean, I think Carolina has really good depth on prospects. I think they have a lot of good prospects, but I think when we talk about the top prospects in Detroit and top prospects in Anaheim, I don't know if Carolina has the top prospects that are at that level. All right, let's go Edmonton.
Probably like a C tier. I mean, we don't like the Oilers don't have much star power aside from Dylan Holloway and Raphael Lavoie, but other than that, and Proberg as well. But other than that, they're prospect pool. I mean, they added in also Borgo, but again, like their prospect pool, it's better than the guys at F tier or the bottom tier, but I wouldn't say it's at the level where it's at the B tier with, you know, the Avs, Buffalo, Calgary. Florida has a very good system. Of course, Anton Lundell, people thought he had low side and completely tore up the Liga. So he's one of the guys that would be a very good a very good dark horse if he ends up playing the NHL and he's competing for the Calder for sure. You got guys like Spencer Knight, he's still a rookie, and I think he's going to play some games in the NHL for sure. Was pretty good against Tampa Bay when he played, and in the regular season as well. So just off those two, it's just they bumped up a lot for sure. Yeah. And obviously Denisenko is on that team as well, who makes them look pretty solid as well too. So I think they're like a B for sure.
Like, yeah, I would say they're a high B. I would say they're with Colorado and even maybe Buffalo in being like B pluses. Yeah. Again, we'll go through it, but I feel like those three teams are even itching towards A. Again, we'll go through the rankings here, but I can agree with that.
If you see like their prospects, like
Heponiemi.
Yeah, Heponiemi. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go LA.
S tier.
This is obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
Just literally they have like everyone.
Yeah, they literally have all the good players. Like they have Byfield, Turcotte. They have a number 1 future right-handed D in Brian Clark. Yeah. They also have Helgi Grons too in the mix.
Kaliev, Pinelli.
Yeah, they pretty much have every good prospect in any rankings. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. You can go through 10, 11, 12 prospects in their system, and they're better than like a lot of the other prospects in a lot of other systems. So, all right, I'm with that. All right, Minnesota, and I actually like Minnesota. So I think they have a really underrated prospect system.
Honestly, like what Bill Guerin and his squad has done as of late is pretty solid. I mean, obviously Marco Rossi came back from a COVID scare. Now, like Rossi has been probably one of the best players in the whole prospect pool. He looked amazing out there. I mean, obviously drafted Carson Lambos as well. Jesper Wallstad, sadly, but obviously they have a really good core for sure, 100%.
Matt Boldy looks sick.
Yeah, Matt Boldy as well.
Kalen Addison, I really like, and he's probably going to get a shot to make the roster this year. So
for sure.
I think Minnesota is right there with the teams we just talked about, like Florida, Buffalo. I think they're a high B, a B plus, and that's where I'm like, and that's where it's tough for me because it's like I think. I want to kind of add like another tier here because it's like you have for me, Colorado, Florida, Buffalo, Minnesota are ahead of teams like Calgary, Columbus, and Dallas, you know?
Yeah, so but Calgary and all the other guys won't fit near an Edmonton's tier.
They're definitely ahead of Edmonton. So for Montreal, I think they could be at an A, but where we're kind of placing teams, like I think a year ago it would have been a different discussion, but and with Caulfield, once Caulfield's not eligible anymore, like this is not an A-tier prospect pool. So I'm just looking at the rest of the prospects they have. They have some intriguing ones. Obviously, Caden Primo, we're still looking at the potential there. Caden Gooley, Struble, Harris, and a guy like Norlinder, I know a lot of people are excited about. So I think it's fair to put them at B. Yeah,
B tier looks fair.
I think B is fair enough. I think as of like maybe like a year ago, like I think Caulfield puts them like, if you take Caulfield off this prospect system, they immediately become a low end B. All right, B for Montreal. All right, let's go Nashville. Let's scare off for one.
Yeah, ask Garoff too, goaltender. I mean,
Afanaseyev.
Afanaseyev.
And they just drafted Zachary LaRue.
The guy from London,
And
Nashville.
Tomasino still considered a problem. I almost forgot about Tomasino's so gross, and Svechkov and LaRue were good picks
too. Yeah, LaRue as well.
So I would go Nashville at B. They're better.
Yeah,
I think they're better. I would say they're maybe a low end B, but I think they're really underrated for prospect system. So
they're for sure
better
than Edmonton.
Nashville B, and I would say Minnesota, Buffalo, and Florida probably have like more depth of prospects, but like Colorado's like big 3, big 4 prospects are better than like any of those guys except for I would say
Marco Rossi. Yeah, Marcy.
And then obviously, and then I don't know if Wallsted's at the level, like obviously we're comparing goalie to forwards, but also like Florida, Spencer Knight, but again, that's like the only other one. But
and Anton Lundell too as well.
Oh yeah, Lundell. Oof. Okay, I'm actually down. This is massive hot takes. I'm down to put all 3 of these maybe to A.
Yeah, that's fair actually. That's pretty fair.
Okay, Carolina's like the high end A here, but I'm down for putting all of these at A actually, now that I'm thinking about it more.
Yeah.
I think this is more fair, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm actually vibing with this now. Okay, let's go. All right, those at A. All right, let's go New Jersey. I think the 2 obvious ones here are Alexander Holtz and Luke Hughes, and then you look at Nolan Foote, they got in the trade from Tampa.
They're probably A tier. I mean, Dawson Mercer looks to be one of the biggest one of the bigger assets. Holtz, even though he had it down near Mukamadulin, but they still have pretty good value though for sure.
The Islanders, I would go D tier. They don't have much.
I mean, Edmonton or D tier,
I think D tier. I think Edmonton has a couple more quality. I mean, if we're considering who the Islanders have outside of they just drafted Ratu, but outside of that, they don't have a lot. Before they had younger guys like Wallstrom, Dobson, but obviously those guys are in the NHL now. So I just think Edmonton has a few more guys like Holloway and like Lavoie, Broberg. So I think they just have a few more guys in the Islanders. So I'm comfortable with the Islanders at D. Yeah. All right, Rangers.
Rangers. I felt like a year ago they had probably one of the best, prospects pools.
But now those guys have jumped into the NHL.
Yeah, NHL.
A couple of guys. So
a B tier.
I'd say A, to be honest. I think they still have enough. Think about it. Yes.
They have Kravtsov. Do you still have
Kravtsov is still considered a prospect. So I'm putting the Rangers at A for sure. Yeah. I think it's one of those things. They still have one of the better futures because while they're not a top 3 or top 4 prospect system anymore, they're still top 10 easily. And you have to think about it. A lot of these guys that were in that prospect pool have now graduated. They're an NHLer. Kind of feeling a similar thing with the Senators because now Josh Norris is in the league. Stutzla's in the league. Yeah. So I feel like Senators are at A. Do you disagree with that?
I don't disagree at all, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean,
I think a high end A.
I mean, they did, with their 2021 draft, they did draft Boucher and big guys only, which was hilarious. But I mean, A or B is probably fair for them, to be honest.
Oh, I don't think B. I think definitely an A for sure. Okay, Philadelphia.
I mean, they have Sami Tomala. They just drafted. It looks pretty solid for them. He's a good sniper as well.
To be honest, man, I think with Cam York still and Forster and Bobby Brink, I think they're probably a high end B. Yeah. I'm okay with putting them as a high end B.
Yeah,
I think they have a couple underrated guys that I think people could make an argument that they're a low end A, but if you compare with others, but I would say B is fair. Pittsburgh.
They're probably one of the teams that are just bottom, and they have Samuel Poulin who had 25.
He's probably the best prospect. Yeah,
it's probably the prospect, but he was over a point per game, with in the queue and the playoffs at 19-15.
They don't have a lot. I would go D.
Yeah, they have Tristan Bross, but that's only it too. But,
yeah. All right, San Jose. I feel like this is maybe a debate between B or C, but they've gotten better.
They've gone way better, actually. Obviously, Eklund has improved their prospect pool. I mean, Eklund has looked really solid in this draft here. Mm-hmm. Tom Sporlow looked really well with the Michigan Wolverines too in the NCAA. You got Brandon Coe, who's also a really good top 6 type of upside too as well. So I'm actually really excited. And they have Merkley as well, who could be pretty solid and looks really solid in the AHL as well. So honestly, I will say I could actually give them a B.
Okay, I'll say a low end B because I agree with you. I think without their 2 best guys, I mean, their last 2 drafts have basically saved their draft or prospects like status.
Yeah, they have Tristan Robbins as well from the Saskatoon Blades who went off last year as well.
Eklund is massive for this system, and Bordelot and Weisblatt significantly improves their prospect system. So I'm okay with putting them as a low end B. Eklund definitely gets them at that B. All right, St. Louis.
St. Louis, I mean, they got Jake Neighbors and Bolduc. Not really guys I really like, to be honest. I mean,
they have a couple. Yeah, they're like, it's a couple interesting, like Robertson and I think Perunovic that Blues fans have talked about potentially battling for a spot.
Baker winner. Yeah.
So I think they're probably maybe
and
just
they have
above.
Koskin, right?
We can maybe put them just at C. All right, Tampa Bay.
Again, they're not really. I think most of the guys like Cal Foote has graduated as well. I mean, of course, Matthew Joseph. I mean, they still have Jack Thompson, who's yet to play because the OHL didn't play.
Yeah, I mean Taylor Radish, and I'm pretty sure I think Barboulay didn't pass the threshold yet.
They have Dylan Duke as well, who was played really well.
And Alnefelt, who could be a decent goalie. I mean, we don't know yet, but Alnefelt could have a high ceiling as a goalie. So I'm okay with. I don't think they have a great system, but I'm okay with putting them at C. I think.
I think like their system is better than a D, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think C is fair for Tampa Bay. All right, they have a lot of depth in terms of younger guys, in terms of guys that can plug in. But I don't know. I don't know if they have any prospects that could like be a star.
I mean, it's certainly it's certainly better for being like cup contenders.
Oh man, they won 2 cups. They don't need their prospect system to be great.
They don't need the prospect system. So
all right, Toronto. I think this is my strongest like sense in where I think it's fair to put them probably right in the middle of the B tier. I don't know if you can just like I mean
obviously Nick Robertson obviously takes the charge because he's probably one of the best prospects there, and they also have, of course, I believe
Rodion Amirov is going to be a stud. I think.
I think Liljegren is still considered.
Liljegren's still considered in there, and I think Hervonen, Niemela,
SDA. Sorry,
SDA. These are they just drafted, so I'm definitely comfortable with them being in like the top 3 or 4, or maybe top 5 of that B tier. So I'll put them around here. All right, Vancouver. I think again, it's one of those things. I think they have a couple intriguing pieces, but I think Hoglander is now graduated. The only one I'd say that like is like screaming right now that's like going to be top notch is Put Colson. Like Michael DiPietro and Rathbone are intriguing as well, but
I like Colson's the top guy. I think he does bring a lot of value though. He could be like probably top 4, maybe top 6.
I think at some point at top 4 potentially. DiPietro could be interesting, but Colson's the only guy there that I would say is really, really attractive. So I would say Vancouver with Edmonton and C. All right, Vegas.
They have Brisson, they have Korczak too. So and Krebs. They also have Krebs.
Yeah, they have Krebs, who's really intriguing. I would say Vegas is probably at the top of C. We have to do Seattle. Where's Seattle?
Seattle.
Seattle doesn't have much. They have Matty Beniers, and that's
Matty Beniers, Reichel Evans.
I think we have to put them at D just off of default.
I mean, based on the guys they've drafted, they still better than what Pens and Chicago has and Boston.
Fair, but they're definitely. I mean, the C teams have a lot deeper system. So, all right, Winnipeg.
So they have Cruz, Lucius, Vesalainen too is still there as well.
Nola still considered there. Perfetti.
And like Dmitry Ravleski, they just drafted him. Is going off. Like I think he has like a 36% in shooting in
Lucius could end up being a massive steal. We could just put them at B. That's fine.
I think that's actually pretty fair though. Yeah.
Okay, so B for Winnipeg and Washington. I feel like they're definitely C or D. I mean,
so they have McMichael, Lapierre, Alexiev.
With McMichael, Alexiev, Lapierre, that's like the 3 guys. I don't think they have a lot after that. So I would say I'm okay putting them at like middle of the C. And again, I feel like I'll say this again. I feel like Arizona has 2 or 3 guys that maybe could get them to C, but I think they don't have a lot of prospect depth. So that's why we have them at D. They're probably like the top tier of D. But
But
That's probably our order.
But once the 2022 draft comes around, they're probably going to be like B or A, depending on if they keep the picks.
Yeah,
or
if they
not.
can, if they keep their picks. So can we agree though? I feel like it's pretty obvious that LA is the best and probably Pittsburgh is the worst.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: Seattle, based on prospect.
But Seattle, that's not really a fair judgment.
No, and that's why I agree. I that's why I'm agreeing that I think Seattle's top 2 prospects are Poulin's decent, so I'll say Seattle's top prospect is better than any prospect on Pittsburgh, New York Islanders, Chicago, Boston, Arizona. So,
I mean, they have the 2nd overall pick.
Exactly. So, all right. I think I'm comfortable with this. Thank you so much for coming on, Raybro. Any last thoughts? Anything you want to plug for yourself? Definitely go subscribe to Raybro on YouTube.
No, nothing much really. I mean, for me, like myself, I'll be writing a lot of articles for Recruit Scouting. I'll be doing the USHL coverage with Dauber prospects, and I'll be working for some articles for Puck Empire as well. So if you guys want to check that out, then you could right now, and not right now, whatever time you're feeling, and check out my Twitter as well and YouTube. But other than that, I have nothing much else to say. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks Raybro for coming on, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave your thoughts in the comment section. This was Raybro and John. Have a good one. Peace out.